Her last GPS location was inside the cemetery gates. Subscribe if you're brave enough to track what really happened inside those 8 minutes. The night she disappeared was colder than it should have been for early spring. Wind pressed against the trees lining Hollow Creek Cemetery, carrying the metallic scent of rain and something else, something older. Emily Carter, 26, was last seen leaving a friend's apartment around 11:30 p.m. Her walk home was supposed to take 7 minutes. Her smartwatch showed 8. At 11:46 p.m., her location froze just past the wrought iron cemetery gates. After that, nothing. Police found her phone near the entrance the next morning, screen cracked, still glowing faint blue in the dark grass. A single message was open on the screen, unsent. "There's someone else here." The media called it a tragedy. Her friends called it impossible. But the investigators who saw her footprints in the mudizens of them, circling one grave again and again, called it something worse. The first strange thing happened during the initial search. When Detective Mason Hale entered the cemetery, his radio shorted out. Static filled the air. Then a faint voice came through, calm but hollow. 8 minutes, 8 minutes. He froze. "Dispatch, say again?" Silence. The tech team later confirmed the message hadn't come from any channel in use. They tried to laugh it off, saying maybe the frequency had picked up a local signal or a CB radio. But no one in Hollow Creek used radios anymore. By noon, the rain had stopped. The grave Emily had circled was identified as belonging to Clara Knoll, a woman who died in 1913. The headstone was cracked through the name, vines curling over the inscription like veins. A faint set of scratches were visible across the base as if fingernails had dragged against stone. Detective Hale crouched beside it, brushing mud away. Underneath, Beryl. The next morning, Detective Mason Hale didn't come home. His cruiser was found parked beside the cemetery gates, engine still running, radio buzzing with static. Inside, his flashlight lay on the passenger seat, its lens cracked and its beam permanently stuck on a faint blue glow. When police searched the cemetery, they found his footprints leading directly to the same grave. Clara Knoll, 1913. But beside his prints were others, bare, small, the same pattern that had appeared next to Emily Carter's. The locals started whispering again. Some said the cemetery had been built on the ruins of the old Hollow Creek Asylum, others that the dead never stayed buried there. But the most disturbing story came from a groundskeeper named Eli Ward, who had worked there for 30 years. He told detectives that the grave in question wasn't supposed to exist. "There's no Clara Knoll in our records," he said, voice shaking. "That headstone wasn't here when I started. It just showed up one spring. The town paid no mind. People thought it was a forgotten plot. But I've seen things. People standing there at night, hearing names whispered when no one's around." The detectives dismissed it at first, until they reviewed Hale's dashcam footage. At exactly 11:51 p.m., the camera captured him stepping out of his car, flashlight in hand. The beam wavered through the fog, and then froze on a faint figure standing beside the Knoll grave. She appeared to be staring directly into the lens. Her face was blurred, her body unnaturally still. Hale said something. The mic barely caught it. "Emily?" Then the video cut to static. The case quickly turned into national news. The missing detective of Hollow Creek. The same headline that had once been used for the missing girl of Hollow Creek. The symmetry of their stories was too eerie to ignore. Reporters began digging into old archives, raising a disturbing pattern. Every 25 years, someone vanished near the cemetery. Each time, It started with the same thing. A woman's voice heard through static, crying for help, followed by 8 minutes of unexplainable silence on every recording. By now, the town was emptying. Residents claimed to hear knocks on their windows at night, faint whispers through their phones, and some even said their watches vibrated with phantom alerts, exactly 8 minutes long. When a tech specialist named Rachel Moran was hired to analyze Emily's smartwatch data again, she found something no one had noticed before. During the 8th minute, a heartbeat resumed for 4 seconds. Not Emily's. The rhythm was slower, irregular, and decades older. She called her supervisor immediately. "This isn't just motion tracking," she said. "It's recording sound." The audio file was corrupted, but as she cleaned it up, faint noises began to emerge. A low hum, footsteps crunching wet grass, and a distant, trembling voice saying, "You found me. Now, take my place." Rachel froze. She tried pausing the audio, but it continued playing on its own. A chill passed through her office. Her monitors flickered, showing static, and, for half a second, a reflection that wasn't hers. A blurred face smiled faintly in the glass. The file deleted itself seconds later. That night, Rachel called Detective Hale's partner, Deputy Monroe, insisting they meet at the cemetery. She sounded frightened but determined. "It's not a ghost," she said. "It's something bound to that grave, something that keeps reliving those minutes." When Monroe arrived, Rachel's car was parked outside the gates, engine still warm. The passenger door hung open, her laptop screen glowing faintly on the seat. On it was a frozen frame of GPS data, a single blinking dot inside the cemetery. He followed it through the fog until he reached the familiar grave. The ground looked recently disturbed. He knelt down, fingers brushing the cold mud, and found a smartwatch buried halfway under the soil. Chapter 3. The 8-Minute Loop. By the time the search for Deputy Monroe began, the cemetery had been closed off entirely. Police tape fluttered against the cold morning wind, but no one dared to cross it. The Hollow Creek officers called in outside help, forensic techs, historians, even a priest. None of it mattered. Everyone who entered came out different or not at all. Rachel Moran's laptop, recovered from her car, contained a single new file, the timestamp, 11:54 p.m. Its name, Loop 8.mp4. The file was corrupted beyond recognition, but its thumbnail showed something that shouldn't have existed, a photograph of the Knoll grave with 4 people standing around it. Emily, Hale, Rachel, Monroe, all in the same frame, and all of them looking straight at the camera. That night, despite orders, one man re-entered the cemetery. Father Donnelly, a local priest who had lived in Claiborne his whole life. He carried no phone, only a lantern and an old journal of town records. Inside that journal, beneath fading ink and brittle pages, was a note written in the margin, "Clara Knoll, buried alive, died on the 8th attempt to escape, declared deceased at 11:54 p.m. The priest knelt beside her grave. The soil was soft again, as if the earth itself were breathing. He began to read an old passage meant to bless the restless, but the ground trembled beneath him. From inside the grave came a sound, not moaning, not crying, a voice whispering his name. "Father." He froze. "Who's there?" The voice was fragile, feminine, calm. "Please help me. I can't get out." He pressed his hand to the soil. "Clara Knoll." A pause. Then, "No." His lantern flickered. "Then who?" "Emily." The light went out. At exactly the same time, a group of engineers reviewing Monroe's smartwatch logs in the station basement noticed something odd. The device